Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This is a most appropriate day for initiation into Krishna consciousness as Balaram, whose appearance in this world is celebrated on this Purnima, is known as the original Guru. Of course, Krishna is the original Guru. Balaram is not different. Krishna, what is that? Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Krishna is known as Jagat. Balaram is Krishna's first expansion, so he points everyone. Look, he's the one, and you should serve him. Balaram gives strength. One cannot understand the self or the super self without strength. This means spiritual strength, not like that. One certain idiot who was known as one of the greatest Swamis of modern India, but who that was a complete idiot. He said that better to play football than read Bhagavad Gita, because you need strength, you have to become physically strong. So this just shows what an idiot he was. So, and that's just one of the things which shows he's an idiot. But fortunately, we have all been picked up in the mercy current brought by Srila Prabhupada, which saved us from this idiocy and that idiocy and every other kind of idiocy that goes on in the world. Srila Prabhupada was a representative of Balaram, the original Guru. Balaram is very strong. Even what we might say physically, just by his expansion, Ananta Shesh, he holds up the whole universe and everything in it. And he's also very strong in service, just as Ananta Shesh tirelessly holds up the whole universe. Not like, as Prabhupada pointed out, there's the picture of Atlas in Greek mythology, who's holding the earth on his back, and it looks like a big struggle, but Ananta Shesh, he holds all the universes, and they're so, the weight of them is so insignificant to him. It might be like if you have some mustard seed in your hair. Of course we don't have hair, at least the male members, but you can imagine if you had a mustard seed in your sheep hair, you wouldn't even notice it was there. Maybe if you scratch it, what's that? Oh, it's a universe. Okay. Oh, better not crush it. So he's so strong that everything is done effortlessly. See, I can't even speak effortlessly. But Ananta Shesh holds up all the universes. And Balaram is serving Lord Krishna in every capacity. So in this way, he's also Adi Guru. Because Guru means he infuses the spirit of service to Krishna, which is all that Balaram does and all that Balaram wants to do and all that he ever will do. And so he's very strong in service. Balaram is very strong. He shows his strength in fighting, killing various demons. There's the well-known anecdote of Srila Prabhupada explaining to the question, who is stronger, Krishna or Balaram? So Prabhupada explained that, you see, Balaram's leaning on Krishna, so Krishna must be stronger. Here, Balaram has kindly manifested in this rainy place, in this festival, to give us strength. So, Balaram is the Guru. Every Guru takes strength from Balaram Nityananda. Excuse me. The Guru is either considered as a representation of Lord Nityananda Balaram, or as one of the intimate serving maids of Radha. In other words, either generally in the Gauriya line of Gurus, they're in Sakyaras or in Manjari power. So that's for Gurus. That's the kind of strength that's required to be a Guru. Of course, there are different descriptions given in Shastra about the qualifications of Guru, and there's lots of talk about this and controversy about this, but we are followers of Srila Prabhupada who, in mentioning the qualification for accepting the role of representing the Parampara and Lord Balaram as Guru to disciples, most often quoted, Jare dekhe tare kaha Krishna upadesh anaragya Guru hoya tara edesh. Wherever you go, wherever you meet, instruct them in the signs of Krishna in this way. Be a Guru and deliver the land. He would also, this land. And he also most often would quote Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kenai Jai Krishna Tatta Veta Shri Guru Hoy. Whatever one's social position, whether one is a Brahmana, a sannyasi, or a Shudra. This was spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Ramananda Rai, who superficially, from the external perspective, was Shudra by caste, of course the topmost devotee. So even if one is Shudra or lower than Shudra, if one knows the science of Krishna, then he can be a Guru. So these are the principles to be a Guru. Guru is one, in as much as every Guru speaks the same message. If we speak something different, there is not a Guru. There's certain Gurus who, so-called Gurus who, for instance, there are so many varieties of bogus Gurus. One type asks, in India, they ask, well, which deity do you like to worship? And according to that, they'll give them a mantra. According to the reply, who's your Ishta Deva? Who's your Kuladi Deva? Who's your preferred deity or the deity of your family? And they give them a mantra according to the Mayavad idea that you worship anyone and anyway it's all the same. But a real Guru knows that Krishna is supreme and directs everyone toward Krishna according to the Parampara system. So in this sense, Guru is one. The message is the same. But at the same time, it's not a stereotype. We find Bhakti Thakur, who's the founder of the mission to bring Krishna consciousness to the Western world, and Gorky Das Babaji Maharaj, who identified himself as a disciple of Bhakti Thakur, his method of practicing Krishna consciousness. There's a lot of differences between Bhakti Thakur and Gorky. They're very different people. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is also very different, to the extent that many people think that Bhaktisiddhanta didn't even follow Bhaktivedanta due to their poor fund of knowledge. And our own Guru, Srila Prabhupada, he was also different in many ways in his method of presentation of Krishna consciousness. His whole character and personality in many ways was very different to that of his own Guru. But he's the same. Guru is one. Because the message is the same. That's the test. If Krishna consciousness comes through, one statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which surprisingly isn't quoted more on the nature of Guru, is Jaha hoite Krishna bhakti she Guru, from whom one gets or one achieves Krishna bhakti. What's the exact word? Gets, I suppose. Receives. From whom one receives Krishna bhakti. That person is the Guru. Which is a very interesting quote for those who are interested in the technical formalities. So the Guru is one in this sense. Now I was going to speak something about myself and my own approach in presenting Krishna consciousness, because I was misinformed that Purnachandra Maharaj wouldn't be initiated. Anyway, he can say something about his own, if he wants. It's up to him, about how his attitude in presenting Krishna consciousness. Because we see in our movement, although Guru is one, in ISKCON today, Guru is one. Guru means who represents Srila Prabhupada and gives the same message. But at the same time, Guru is many. And it may appear to make some problems even. It gives variety. But in variety there are certain difficulties are inevitable. Therefore the Mayavadis say, no variety. Just you want to solve all the problems, just have no variety. Prabhupada said this is imperfect. If we think that there should be no problems, and everyone will be exactly the way we want them to be, Srila Prabhupada said this is impersonal. So if there are people, there will be problems, because there will be different outlooks. And it goes on in the spiritual world also. There wouldn't be any fun if it wasn't. That's where all the fun comes from. Different outlooks. So there are different outlooks and different approaches, and I'm going to say a little bit about my outlook. Yeah. And as we may, even among God brothers, we may argue vigorously on various points. As Prabhupada said, he gave an example. Two lawyers in the court, they may argue vigorously over some point of law, but then when they come out, they're friends, because they're not enemies, but they have some different arguments. So I was saying this recently about Hridayananda Maharaj and myself. I've been arguing with him for years, and we'll probably go on various points, and we'll probably go on for life, and maybe we'll go on in the spiritual world too, if I ever get there. So, different outlooks, but still we're friends, although we always disagree on almost everything. I think that's a pretty good friend. Anyway, Srila Prabhupada told one story of the young man who was raised by his aunt, who was very indulgent with him, let him do whatever he liked, because she thought she was being nice to him like this. And he fell into bad, as he grew old, he fell into bad company. And to make a long story short, he was eventually arrested as a criminal and sentenced to death. So, as his last wish, as he was standing in a public execution, about to be thrown on a changa maybe, was Patanayak? Which one of them? Gopinath Patanayak. That's a local method of execution, right, in Romania?
In Romania.
Count Dracula, he used to do that. Anyway, getting a little sidetracked there. Anyway, as he was about to be hung or whatever, have his guillotine, have his head chopped off, his last wish, he saw his aunt sniffling and sobbing in the crowd, weeping. So he called her up and was tied up. Put your ear next to my mouth. So she thought he was going to whisper something, and he didn't. He bit off her ear. What a nasty guy. Anyway, he said, I did that to you because it's your fault. I'm here. You didn't tell me what was right or what was wrong. And as a result, I didn't know. And he blamed it all on her. It's a bit extreme, but Prabhupada was making a point by telling this anecdote. Srila Prabhupada sometimes quoted the English saying, which I believe is in Croatian also, spare the rod and spoil the child. He was telling me, or maybe in Slovene. Was it so? Spare the rod and spoil the child. Do you get the meaning of it? Is it in Croatian also? Is it in Croatian?
The rod came from the heaven.
I see. Yeah. Chanakya Pandit also probably quoted the first 5 years, let the child do whatever he likes, and then up to the age of 16 be very strict, and then after that be a friend. I also, I've often quoted this. Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj was the first sannyas disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And like many of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples, he was very strict. In fact, Gadadhar Pandit says, you'll find in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says about the disciples or the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he used the word Bhisha. They're all, the word Bhishma, Bhisha. It means they're all terrible. They're heavy people. Devotees tend to be intense people. Tivrena Bhakti Yoga. It's an intense process. So anyway, there's a book in Bengali describing various devotees, and the biography of Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj is in there also. And also, the author of the book is Bhakti Keval Odulomi Maharaj. But it seems that the author of the book had more association with Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj. So he writes in the book about how he was like so strict and he wouldn't allow anyone to, any little thing he'd chastise him like anything. And then at the end of the mini biography, it's a book of mini biographies, I simply desire his association life after life. He always chastised me like this. So he took it, well, I guess it's difficult for everyone to take it. But he was appreciating that. So that's one kind of love. There's mother's love and father's love. Mother's love tends to be more indulgent, and father's love very strict. Although sometimes it's around the other way. Srila Prabhupada said about his own father that his physical father, would just give him whatever he wanted. His mother was very strict. But anyway, one kind of love is indulgent, and the other is strict. And by God's arrangement, although stupid people of the modern age, they're always trying to change everything that God gave. So in God's arrangement, children, naturally, they have a father and as well as a mother. So they're raised by their father and their mother. So there are different kinds of caring. There's caring by being giving room to move, and caring by not giving room to move. So Srila Prabhupada was our father and our mother. I guess I'm more like the less indulgent type. And yeah, I believe in that. Spare the rod and spoil the child. Not very indulgent. So it can be difficult, I suppose, being a disciple. Atmopam yena savatra, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we should consider others when we're dealing with them. So I don't ask people to be my disciples. People come to me. Those who are my disciples, they approach and ask me. So it's relative to my glorious God brothers who are giving initiation. I'm probably among the more strict. I don't give very easy path. So those of you who have chosen to take to this, you'll have to tolerate my strictness, and sometimes it may seem to be excessive, finickiness, you could say. It means like making a big thing over little things. How would you say? Finicky, something like that.
Explain it as well as...
Okay. Good. You may say, like that. So, but I would request that if you're going to be a disciple, please follow. I do ask that there are various rules which should be followed. They're saying Krishna consciousness is not a stereotype. It's not, Guru is one, but it's not a stereotype. But it's not just, Krishna consciousness is not a stereotype, but it's also not just do whatever you like. There are rules, and they are offered by the acharyas. Srila Prabhupada uses that phrase, the rules and regulations offered by the acharyas by spiritual countries. So it's up to us to follow them or not, but it's not that much up to us. When we accept a guru, we accept to follow the instruction. So we voluntarily submit ourselves to discipline. Disciple means discipline. So I try to take my role as guru seriously in offering discipline. This should be followed, that should be followed, because these rules are offered by the acharyas for our advancement. So I would ask the disciples to also take them seriously. I feel that, or my conviction is that if you follow this, then we will be benefited. As much as we follow, the more we will be benefited. Now, we can practice Krishna consciousness at various levels, and we can accept people in Krishna consciousness at various levels. But I often I stress on some points which may seem Well, they're not fully necessary. Just like, for instance, Vaishnava dress. As Srila Prabhupada explained, if you're dressed as a policeman, then people know he's a policeman. And we can understand he also feels like a policeman, and also it helps him to execute his role. So that's just one example. We can chant Hare Krishna in any dress. But as far as possible, if we are in Vaishnava dress, then that will help us to feel like devotees. And help us to associate with the whole culture that goes with Krishna consciousness. Culture that goes with shorts is different to the culture that goes with dhotis and saris. So like this, I'm somewhat strict, but I'm convinced that if you follow this, that will help you to advance in Krishna consciousness. And I expect my disciples to take what I say seriously. Otherwise, what's the meaning of it all? It's inevitable that those who preach, they will get more, and who are open to accepting disciples, those who are Prabhupada's disciples, and maybe others also. Now, they will get more and more disciples. Srila Prabhupada said that he wanted all of his disciples to have 10,000 disciples. So it's inevitable, as those who do accept more disciples will have less and less personal interaction with, especially those who come later. They might expect to have less interaction with their guru. As I was saying yesterday around here about the three big shots on the stage. We're all little big shots. Because it's by default. We were very small members of Prabhupada's family. We weren't big leaders, and actually none of us are big leaders now even. Although that's not to judge anyone's spiritual advancement based on that. Often it may be those who are sitting down and listening, they may be more advanced than those who are sitting up and pontificating, as the fancy word goes. It means talking like the Pope. But the qualification is, as I was saying, we kept it, all these years we kept our hands in our bead bags, that's in itself a qualification. So if we can do this much that after 35 years after accepting initiation you still have your hand in your bead bag, if we can give you that much guidance and inspiration, that in itself is an achievement, because not that many do it, unfortunately. Many accept initiation and after some time they think, well, as one of my godbrothers said, well, I've had enough Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. It's not a Krishna conscious statement. So anyway, you are likely to... It's not likely that all of my disciples are going to get a lot of personal interaction in the way that they may wish to do so. The realities of life in ISKCON today is like that. And I'm very grateful to you that you come and take the difficulties of this Lika camp. Those of you who are in this area who come once a year just to see me and see each other and see my God brothers. So thank you for that. I'm also very happy to see all of you remaining with your hands in your bead bags for another year. Srila Prabhupada said 16 plus 4 equals BTG. You know that one? 16 rounds plus 4 regulated principles equals back to Godhead. No, he didn't say that. Danavir Maharaj derived that from Prabhupada saying, if you just chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulated principles, you'll go back to Godhead. So just keep on the path, steady. Yeah, so there may not be that much what we call personal interaction, but then as Srila Prabhupada himself said, I didn't see my Guru Maharaj more than a dozen times, which I understand to mean as like personal interaction and talking, because presumably Srila Prabhupada did sit in the lectures of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur more than that, presumably, when he was in, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati spent most of his time in Calcutta, and Prabhupada was also there in Calcutta quite a lot. So, please keep steadily on the path. Every leader in ISKCON brings, there's a different flavor, everyone's different person. Guru is one, but there's a little bit different flavor for everyone, but we all have to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission. So please, all of you, remember that when you're becoming a disciple of Bhakti Vikasa Swami or Purnachandra Goswami Maharaj, we're all members of Prabhupada's mission. We're all serving his mission together. Srila Prabhupada's mission is the mission of all the previous acharyas. Prabhupada came to fulfill the desires of all the previous acharyas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. So we have a lot of work to do. Our relationship with our Guru is, we shouldn't consider that in a sentimental way, just like sitting and looking at him or something like that, but serving the mission. The relationship is compounded by serving the mission, as all 4 of us little big shots. Our relationship with Prabhupada, of all of us, has been serving Srila Prabhupada's mission. And that's how the mercy comes. By service and by hearing. So please listen to me what I have to say. It may sound presumptuous. I'll explain presumptuous. Or it may sound that it's very proud, but I have the pride to say, if you listen to what I say, you will be benefited. If I didn't think you would be benefited, then I shouldn't speak. I should just shut up. But because I'm speaking, as my godbrothers are also speaking what they've heard from Srila Prabhupada, so I have the presumptuousness to say that if you listen to what I say, if you follow what I say, you will be benefited. So please do that and practice Krishna consciousness seriously, joyfully. The 2 things go together. In material life, seriousness and joy are opposites, but in Krishna consciousness they must go together. The bliss of Krishna consciousness is not there by the take it easy, do whatever you like, however you like, whenever you like, or if you don't like, don't do anything at all. That's not Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness means seriousness. From that seriousness comes joy. The joy of Krishna consciousness is based by strictly following. We have to strictly follow not just rules and regulations, but we strictly follow a devotee, a dasa, madasa, madasa. So we have to follow a devotee, that is Krishna's system. That we accept a guru who will instruct us. As far as the personal association, well, I'm coming here once a year. You can also come to India and spend time. I'm mostly there. It's spend time there if you like. There also I'm traveling quite a lot. Nowadays, by the grace of modern technology, they have recorded lectures and live internet broadcasts, which I plan to do more and more, and writing books. Srila Prabhupada said, if you want to know me, read my books. So I can say the same thing also. Maharaj, please say something. And then I'll speak a little bit more about the devotees.
Told me that he was going to.
I'm just going to read out the recommendation for initiation for Bhakti and Christina, which is received from Ananta Prabhu, Temple President in Ljubljana. He didn't just give a form sheet, but he gave a summary of activities in Krishna consciousness. He wrote, Dear Maharaj, please accept my most humble and respectful obeisances at our Lotus feet, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. In the name of ISKCON Slovenia, I would like to recommend Bhakti and Christina Clemench, as I pronounced, for the first initiation, Harinam Diksha. Bhakti and Christina first met devotees when she was 14 years old on the preaching program in her hometown. So these preaching programs, they were! I've had experience many times. I meet devotees, young men. They told me when I was a child, you came to my village in Bengal. And they remember. I don't remember. I don't know the name of the village or anything. When she was at the college, social work, you studied social work or something like that. She met a school friend who invited her to the temple, which she visited for the first time in December 2004. She started chanting immediately after that. In the first month she chanted regularly 4 rounds, gradually increasing every month 2 rounds. So in June 2005 she started to chant 16 rounds. Since then she is chanting regularly at least 16 rounds daily, as well as following the 4 regulated principles. During August 2006, on the Lika camp, she first met with her spiritual master, which was myself. On October 2007, she traveled to India, where she stayed for half a year. And you were, it's not mentioned here, but you were in the MIHET, is it? You were doing the course of the Bhakti Shastri? Yeah. In Mayapur, yeah. In this time she also travelled to Tirupati, South India for her Guru Maharaj's Vyasa Puja. After returning from India, she travelled and stayed in the following by her spiritual master's arrangement at different temples in Lisbon, New Vrindavan and Detroit. In October 2008 she returned to her parents' home in Slovenia, and recently she married with devotee Tirthakar Prabhu from Czech. Since the very beginning, Bhakti and Christina was engaged in many different services, temple services such as cleaning, making garlands, helping in the kitchen, temple shop, dancing for festivals, etc. She was librarian at the Bhaktivedanta College in Radhadesh, also cooking in the Govindasar. She has formally fulfilled local requirements for the first initiation, that is, passing successfully 2 years of the Bhakti school program. Along with the Harisats, she also pursued the Bhakti Shastri degree in Mayapur. According to the above, we can also observe that she has exhibited stability in her devotional practice. Therefore, we recommend Bhakti and Christina for the first initiation. Thanking you, your insignificant servant, Ananta Das. So that's a nice Krishna conscious CV. Say CV in Croatian, it's Latin, right?
Huh?
It's Latin. Did you say that in Croatian? Curricula
Vitae.
Biodata, they say in
Nowadays.
Also today, Nakshatri Prabhu, who was initiated in 1994 by Harikesh Maharaj, his senior devotee. He was wishing to take reconfirmation of his initiation vows from Sahotra Maharaj, who, due to various circumstances compounded by his passing away, wasn't able to do so. So, I'm doing that as a service to him. Both myself and Nakshatri Prabhu close to Sahotra Maharaj. So, that's also going on today. And Purnachandra Maharaj, they should come and sit, isn't it? Huh? She can't be shy forever. At some point you have to say.
Full sheet again.
At some point you have to say, I'm going to do it. That's what I often say to people. It's quite common in India. People say, well, gradually. When Krishna shows his mercy to me, then I'll be Krishna conscious. That's a rascal thing to say. It's like, that's saying that, well, I'd like to be, but Krishna doesn't want me to be. But anyway, especially about demigod worship. I said, well, at some point, either now or 10,000 lifetimes later, you got to stop deity worship and demigod worship and surrender to Krishna. So at some point we have to do it. It's either now or millions and billions of years later, so you might as well do it now. Shubhasya shighram. That which is auspicious should be done immediately. When you're feeling hungry, you don't say, well, I'll eat later. Right now? When Krishna shows his mercy, then I'll eat. When Krishna comes and personally puts the food in my mouth. Now. Do it now. So. Before you die, you have to do what is required so you don't get more